Hello, one and all, and welcome back, yes, back to the Great Unknown Audio Show with me, your illustrious host, and most appropriate face for radio, Maxim Jennings. And I'm happy to say that I also have a co-host for today's episode, a university friend of mine who is currently living in Australia, living the dream, some would say, who has been travelling since the end of August. Her name is Izzy Monday. Izzy, welcome.
Hi, hey, how you doing?
It's great to have you, and Izzy has been a very kind host to me over the last 3 days or so as I've been continuing my epic road trip around Western Australia. Having a place of residence for the last 3 days has definitely been handy. We're going to give you a little review of some of the things that we've been doing.
Okay.
But first of all, Izzy, we've got to talk a little bit about your travels, what you've been doing so far. So where did you start?
Okay, so I started in Bangkok. Was actually my first place, but I only stayed there for 3 days before heading to Indonesia because of, well, I met a lot of people in Bangkok and they said they were staying in Thailand, but I didn't want to stay there because it was rainy season. I heard, well, when I researched into things, not that I don't think it really matters too much when you go, but it was rainy season in Thailand, so I was like, I'm going to come back to Thailand in October. So I went to Indonesia in September, which apparently is like the best time to go to Indonesia. Like the best weather is September time because it's the dry season. So I started Bangkok basically, and then to Bali.
Very nice indeed. Part of my endeavours following these trips around the oceanics will hopefully be some of the places that Izzy has visited. Any that stand out that you'd like to tell the listeners about? Maybe one specific memory if you can.
Oh, in Asia?
Yeah.
I really liked Lombok, which is a little island next to Bali. So you can have Bali, the Nusa Islands, the Gili Islands, and then you'll come across a bigger island called Lombok. And it was just a really beautiful place. It was a lot quieter than mainland Bali. Like less westernized, less touristy, and it had the most beautiful beaches. And if like you're good at surfing, which I'm not, but it's really good for surfing. I did attempt there a few times, but I can't say I'm a pro just yet. So yeah, and it's the amazing food. There were some really good warangs that had
Meringues?
warangs, which is like the local cuisine, like the local food.
Okay.
Because there's still westernized places, so you can tell the difference between like the westernized ones and the like local cuisines. They're called warangs, which took me a while to know because people were like, we're going to the warang, and I just thought it was like just one place. And then someone else took me to another warang. I was like, well, didn't we go to, they said like, oh, we're going to the warang. I was like, oh, cool, I went there last night. And then it was a new place, and I was like, wait, what? I'm really confused.
So they're all just called the same thing?
They are. That's just like the local cuisine is like warangs. That's what they're called.
Well, that all sounds incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
Would you say that the Southeast Asian route is as hyped as it is all over social media and as well travelled by lots of different travellers?
Yeah, you do meet a lot of people doing the same route, and there was lots of different nationalities. I spent a lot of time with Germans and Swiss and Dutch, lots of Dutchies, in all different countries. Like people I travelled with in Indonesia, I ended up seeing in Thailand. People I travelled with in Thailand, I ended up seeing in Vietnam. I ended up seeing people in Australia. Like, yeah, it's a very popular route. There's a lot of things that are really big tourist things, like the Hajjang Loop, and what other, like the Komodo trip are like huge things you see on social media. They are as good as everyone makes out them to be. Like, I had a great time doing both, but they are definitely the most busiest things I see on social media and the things I did whilst traveling. But I would say they are 100% worth it, and the hype for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you spent the majority of your trip soloing.
Yes.
How has that experience been?
I like it a lot. I did do a month with my friend Freya, who came out. We travelled Thailand together, but it was more like partying. We were just having a good time. It was like December. It was like the hot Christmas holidays, so I felt like that was my holiday after my 3 months of travelling. But yeah, I do like being solo. I feel like introverted and sometimes independent. So I feel like I do like doing things by myself. As much as I wasn't always solo, like a lot of activities I did were with other people. I like having that freedom of doing things myself, and it's definitely a confidence builder thing to know I've like been traveling around Asia as a young female. It's like an accomplishment for females, like you can go and do that stuff, which is super cool. And you meet so many like-minded people along the way, other females, so many young females doing it, which I think is amazing, and quite inspiring, and it's cool.
Very cool indeed. I should say, listeners, that our studio of choice today is inside the VWT Cross, so that kind of background noise you can hear, although as soothing as it may be, is just the engine giving a little rumble as we're making our way down to Perth to see some more up to Perth. Sorry, to see some more university friends. So that's kind of our activity for the day. But I guess let's talk a bit about Australia now, because you've been here for quite a substantial amount of time.
4 months.
4 months, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 4 months. What do you want to know?
Yeah, so you started just before, was it just after Christmas you came here?
Yeah, so I literally landed in Sydney on December 31st. So on New Year's Eve. And my first experience of Sydney was the Sydney fireworks, which was amazing. Again, big tourist thing, totally worth it. Everyone should go see it. It was just like amazing. Like, I kind of felt like I was on mushrooms or something though, because you just see all these huge fireworks. And
is it right over the Opera House?
Opera House, Sydney Bridge, like all across the river leading out to the sea, like the mouth of the, I don't know what the river's called. But yeah, it's a amazing experience, and I was with some good friends, so that was also really fun. Started in Sydney. It was a bit like a culture shock going from Asia. It felt like I was back in London for a bit, and then Sydney for 10 days. Didn't really like central Sydney. I think it was just like the overwhelmness of being in a city again. That's very similar to like westernized English culture in a way, but I mean the weather was nicer. And then I moved to Bondi for like my remaining 6 days there, which was a little bit better. It was nice being by the sea, but it did kind of remind me of like Bournemouth, weirdly.
Where Izzy and I both went to university.
Yeah, did remind me of Bournemouth, but it was a bit more laid back and there was things to do. But yeah, and then I went up to East Coast, stayed with my aunt for a month before doing a big road trip over the whole of Australia to Margaret River, and Dunsborough, which is kind of where I am now. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Dunsborough, where you are, where we've been for the last 3 days or so.
Yeah. So Dunsborough is a little town in southwest Australia. It's like right on the seafront. It's got a beautiful little quiet beach, like just very calm sea, like nothing crazy, and then you have all the coastline around it, which is very popular for surfers, like all the way down from like Dunsborough to all the way down to Augusta, which is like part of the southwest, and that's like huge for surfing. And it's just like a very untouched part of Australia, like all the coastlines, it's just beach and nature, and there's lovely walks you can do, lovely hikes, and yeah, there's a lots to do, but you do need a car to get around.
Which is what we've been doing today, investigating one of the
Facebook Marketplace's greatest finds, which I'm pretty good at.
I'm not a big Facebook Marketplace user, but I see some people get some absolute bargains, but also get some absolute shockers on there.
Yeah, well, we don't know what this. I don't know what this car is going to be at this point. It's either going to be a shocker or a great find.
So we will see, and I'll make sure you keep me updated on how that goes. But you're kind of in the transitioning period that many people go through when they travel Australia, as making their mind up as to whether to try and make this a permanent place of residency. You've done pretty well so far.
Yeah.
Getting a job, which, as you know, my former co-host and long-term travel companion Nikolai Brown has managed to secure. Congratulations, Nick, but not without trying. You found it in Dunsborough probably a bit easier than others have around the country to find work.
I mean, when I was in the East Coast, I was looking for jobs, and I didn't get one for a month in. It took me a month to find one, and I got offered 3 jobs within 2 days of being here. I think I just came at the right time. It was right before Easter holiday, so a lot of places were hiring. I got offered a cafe, one bar job, one like cellar door and restaurant. But it's got kind of quieter now. So I've been doing the wine bar cellar door mainly as my main job role.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, it was pretty easy to find a job, luckily. I think I was like, right, I know I need to get a job. I had it in my head, like I was just ready to work towards finding a job, so I applied to absolutely everywhere. I took my CV and everywhere.